designer shirt. My mind is squirt, some rhyme work that'll make your sinus hurt. Buckle your seat while the pilot work. My spacecraft got enough gas that'll take you out of this earth. I'm magic with a pen and paper like a warlock. The window pane's wide open, but the door's locked. So you looking through the window for it in your window, but do they really have the skill to analyze the symbol? Crescendo, the ashes blow when the wind blow. The rain put out the fire while the children build a temple. Just like the pyramids, walls and scribble. A projection in the sky of the messiahs on your mental. Monumental and extraterrestrial. Turning these niggas into mental vegetables. It's kinda crazy how I ride on instrumentals as I slice like a Ginsu with the vibe I put in. You listen. This is not a double life. It's just a new beginning. The magic is to focus on our goals till we're winning. I'd rather have a portrait of myself up on the ceiling. I could lay down on the floor, look up and visualize the millions. Imagine that. Do you see the picture clearly? Focusing on working with me. You could get this money with me. We could take over the world and put the trophies in the city, the plaques on the wall, and have a feast of who was with me. Yeah, last week was just the past, right? A new beginning. I've been up for all these past nights, and all these people that I knew just seem to pass by. They stuck on stupid worry about their past lives. And I just ask why. Are they agents? Is the system about to crash? Am I the one like in the Matrix? Is the planets in the heavens? Then the earth is just a spaceship. Our thoughts control reality and life is what you make it.
You were supposed to be here. You and I were supposed to figure this out together.
Motherfucker. What'd I tell you, Frank?
It got late and I didn't...
You got kids, you nail the window shut. You nail the motherfucking window shut.
No.
Frank,
No.
right?
No, I can't. Don't.
I don't know how you're doing this, but you're lying.
No.
Megan, get the fuck away from that window. Hey, Elgin, let me hold $20 till tomorrow. Ain't cooey, cuz. Ain't cooey, cuz.
Ain't cooey, cuz. Indeed. What's going on? Yes. You know, I wanted to go live right about now, because I noticed some things. All right, so when I write my scripts, first I watch the show, and lately I've been watching the show on the live stream with you guys. And so I don't get a chance to watch it how I usually watch it. So it's kind of changed the way I write, as far as when I write, right? When I usually watch the show, I pause it and all of that, and I look at certain things and I take my notes that way. But this time my notes have been kind of skinny, you know? And so I have to gather images from the show for my videos. So while I'm doing that is a perfect time to expand my notes. And while I was watching, I noticed right away in the first watch, the witch ladder that showed up, you know, from my man Taryn Matherew's theory. He had the witch ladder, okay? And he talks about that being one of the items in his theory. And I saw that pop up immediately with Sophia have with the ropes and them gathering ropes together and tying all the ropes together. We saw this before when Jade was tying all of the fabric and the ropes and string together in season 3 when he was getting drunk, laying under it and everything, trying to figure out what was going on. You know, this is after he just come from the tunnels and seen the root symbol. And so he was under something like a witch's ladder. And I noticed that. But then while I was I actually hit him up and said that to him. I said, brother, I don't know if you've seen the episode yet, but the witch's ladder showed up. And I thought that was really dope. And he mentioned the geese, and I saw that too. But I didn't remember it when I saw it the first time. But when he mentioned it, and then I saw the geese. Does anybody know where the geese showed up at? Did anybody see the geese? Or the gooses? Did anybody see the geese? I'm going to wait in the chat to see if y'all saw the geese. And I'm going to go up in the chat real quick to do some shout outs. We got Alicia Empress in the building with us. Good to have you as always. Hi, Sprinkle Kitty. And she says, hi, Real. What's going on? Hey, we got Taylor in the building with us, Tailored Healing TV. Go check out her esoteric decodes. Yes, indeed. Drop your link in the chat, sis. Yes, so they know where to go. We got Tyrone in the building. Tyroneology is here with us. And we have Joe Still Knows with us. What's going on, Joe? She said this live is coming at the right time. Hey, Real. Hey, everyone. And Leah has come to us as well. Good to have you as always. I think Leah has been here for like the last few midday streams that we've been having too. A lot of you guys catch us on the midday. I think the midday might be the sweet spot. I don't know. I mean, we still might have to do Saturday Night Live, of course, but I think the midday streams are pretty dope. I do have time to break away sometimes. I have some announcements as well today. Tony and I just been talking lately, and we've been talking about doing something since season 2, getting together and getting you guys that want to meet us and meet up with us and getting you guys to come together with us. Tony had been talking about doing a FromCon, but I gave him the idea. I said, yo, brother, why don't we just do a con about the YouTubers? Let's do like something where we just bring the content creators together, and that way we can fit in multiple shows. You know what I'm saying? Like we could talk about multiple shows. It won't be just about From. We can have some entertainment there. And I said I'd even perform. You know what I'm saying? Y'all heard my music. Y'all heard, I'd even perform at the joint. We'll get some performers. We'll get a heavy DJ. Have some booths set up for people who want to vend. We'll also have panels set up for different content creators to speak, different actors from the shows as well. And we'll have a real dope MC. You know what I mean? That's Phil the Issues guy. I'm thinking that should be Phil. Tony said Phil as well. I agree with him. You know what I'm saying? I haven't, spoke to him about it, but I'm sure Tony has. So we're thinking, and it's going to be in Nashville. It's going to be in Nashville. So we will definitely be linking up, whether it's a big convention like we're planning and like we would like to do, or an intimate meeting where everybody, links up, and it's going to be from Thursday to Sunday. So everybody doesn't have to be there for every single day. But if you would like to, You could, of course. And I'll talk more about that in a minute. You know what I'm saying? But who else we got with us? We have Beth in the building. We got Natifa in the building. Yes, indeed. Sheldon is here rocking with us. Tallulah Lives is rocking with us. I am with Alice is rocking with us. What's going on? Christine Jelly Bean, good to see you as well. Just called me TT is there with us rocking. Hold on, who else is here? Ever since the podcast is in the building, what's going on? Shout out to them for sure. Golden Child Productions, my brother, with the sharp thoughts, definitely comes through. What up, folks? You feel me? Who else is here? Hey, Nikisha Moore is in the building with us. Nikisha Moore Reviews. Yes, indeed. If you have Nikisha Moore Reviews channel, go drop her link in the chat. You know what I'm saying? As a matter of fact, hold on, Nikisha. I got you. I got you. Drop your link in the chat, sis. Drop the link to your channel in the chat. I'm gonna tell you something about Nikisha Moore Reviews, right? She's been on the channel for a long time. She's been rocking with Real Enigmas and Theories for a long time. But she covers something on her channel that is very nostalgic to me. You know what I'm saying? During the summertime, my grandmother used to watch me during the summers. You know what I'm saying? I actually lived with my grandmother during the summers, and my grandmother used to watch like what is it, The Bold and the Beautiful, The Young and the Restless, all the little, soap operas and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? I know who Victor Newman is, you know what I mean? I know about Lil Nicky and Victoria and all them. Like I know about all of that. You know what I'm saying? Drusilla, you dig what I'm saying? Like I remember those characters from growing up in my childhood. Something very nostalgic to me, the soap operas. And Nikisha be covering them joints. I don't know. Nikisha, have you still been covering the soap operas? Because you definitely used to be on that vibe. I would listen. I would even turn on her joint if I would see her live and just listen while I was driving or something. But the soap operas were very nostalgic to me, and I just found it just like a pleasant surprise that she liked From, and she was over here talking about From and whatnot with us, and that she was doing those. So shout out to her, and you should be able to drop your link in the chat. I threw the wrench your way, definitely. Who else we got in the building? Ain't Cooey Cuz, ain't Cooey Cuz, ain't Cooey Cuz. Yeah, that's that's it right there. Rising Star 7 is here. The Miss Rissa is in the building with us. Yes, indeed. Four is a lot is in the building with us. I like the names that people come up with it on YouTube, and more importantly, the way that they're spelled and stuff, and just the clever way that a sentence can be brought to you with a name. You feel me? Like four is a lot. Like I like that. Um, we got Sifu in the building. Sifu Weber is in the building with us. You rock, homie. Love this. Thank you so much. Gardenia Blossoms is in the building. Good to see you. Yes, indeed. Latrice is in the building. Love seeing your breakdowns and esoteric theories. Yes, I'm working on my joint. I should have this joint done by tomorrow or the next day or like early morning to really late night tomorrow or something like that. I gotta cook it all up, write it, and I'm just putting my thoughts down, but then I need to like write it out, and you know how it goes. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing all this over here by my little lonesome, but I do it on my free time, and I love doing this. This is like fun. You know what I'm saying? We got TG in the building. We got Ange in the building. What's going on, Ange? Who else is here with us? Pick a struggle. See what I'm saying? Pick a struggle is like a statement, but it's the name, and it just can be brought to you just like bloop. You know what I'm saying? What's up, Pick a Struggle? Rush Music is in the building. See, Rush put the 5 in there for the S, and that's what I'm thinking. Like tuning in from Alabama. That's what's up. And you do music. Yes, indeed. Yes, Freak is in the building. Soap operas, TikTok. Okay. I'm still looking for the geese comments. Don't think I forgot. Don't think I forgot. Because sometimes I do that shit. I'll get to talking about something else and forgot about what I asked you guys to chime in on. Let me know where you find the geese from. You know what I'm saying? Let me know if you guys saw the geese. And when I get all the way down to the bottom, I will tell you where the geese are at. My mom still watches soap operas. Oh, okay. Nikisha said, I appreciate you. Yes, indeed, sis. I haven't been posting often, but I'm thinking about coming back soon. Please do. Please do. Are you still watching the soap operas? Are you still abreast of what's going on? Are you caught all up? You know what I'm saying? Like soap operas are not like regular shows. Like them shits are every day. You know what I'm saying? Which is crazy to me. Like I know these people are like really have their acting chops advanced to have to jump into this character for such a long time. Sometimes 20 and 30 years these characters play on these shows. So, you know, shout out to that. Patricia is in the building. My mom still watches those soap operas. Crazy that you say that because my mom's name is Patricia. Like, what? Yo, what's going on? Hold on. We got Jay Hall in the building. I said TG rocking with us. Let's get on down here. Yo, Big Heck is in the building with us. What's going on, my brother? How you? Taryn Matheru is here. Yes, I'm glad you're here. Hopefully you can hop up because I definitely want you to break down the things that showed up in this episode that are in your theory. I tried to speak a little bit about it. And I even asked you today a couple of questions to kind of get my mind right and ready to talk about it. But no one talks about this stuff like you do, my brother. And as a matter of fact, I'm gonna drop the link in there just in case you can. If you can't, that's cool. Still love you, brother. Like, you know, I know you. I think you're in Poland. Are you still in Poland? Like, what's going on? I think my brother's in Poland right now. RCO 16G is in the building. What's going on? We got the sister No Context here with us. What's up, sis? How you? Ghost MKC rocking with us. We have Catalyst in the building. My brother's in the building with us. We rock. Yes, indeed. What's going on, Taryn? Thanks for joining, my brother. Like, I don't even have to let them know where the geese were. You could tell.
Well, I am sad to say, Real, that I have had AI analyze the puzzle, the jigsaw puzzle board game, which I thought what depicted geese, but it's actually crows.
Oh,
Because the box says 1,000 crows or something like that on it, or 100 crows.
oh,
Yeah.
wow. Okay.
So it is
So they
crows,
were
but there are
crows.
many, many geese references on the show. Like there are literally geese randomly on the wall, like as like wall decorations, sometimes hanging upside down in the Matthews house.
Hmm.
And you know the "Hello Little Susie" song that plays when Kelly gets that rod stuck through her head on the tree?
Yes.
It ends with the phrase "Your goose is cooked." Um,
Ah,
but
yes.
then and also there are many egg clues on the show, as I'm sure you'll agree, Real.
Oh, yeah.
And the tiles, the tile pieces in the game of Goose are typically eggs, you know, rather than squares.
Are
Um,
you able to share screen and like drop down some of it and break it down like how you know there's a prison there and we see even with Victor the post office is used often as a holding cell for people. It's been used for Jade, it's been used for Frank, it's been used who else? I forget who else it's been used. Acosta, you
I
know, it's
believe the trailer for the next episode shows Victor also kept in there for
yes.
whatever reason.
Yes, it does. You know what I'm saying?
Uh, Let me see if I can. I don't know how long I can stay on for, but I will
Okay.
stay on as long
And
as
I'm
I
not
can.
gonna be on that long. Oh, and while I
Mm.
got you here, Tony and I are planning the event for we're thinking summer in Nashville. Summer 2027 in Nashville.
Oh,
Hopefully you could come through and
yeah,
join us for that.
yeah. You know,
We were
I hard
talking
to
about
predict.
doing that. We were supposed to be doing it this year, but I don't know. Like everything started happening real crazy last. Oh yeah, that's right too. I mean, we had a new baby last year, and so
Yeah,
that even stopped our trip to
that's a pretty
Newfoundland.
good reason.
I'm still trying to do the trip to Newfoundland as well. Um, I just want to go to Canada now. I just,
Yeah.
I just want to go. You've already been to Canada this year. Like, are you still in
Yes,
Poland?
but I did not get to go to Newfoundland, as it's supposed to. We need to pronounce it right. It's Newfoundland. Uh,
Okay, Newfoundland.
I've been saying Newfoundland because I think that's kind of how the Brits say it, but they don't like it pronounced that way apparently. So let's try and
Okay.
get it right. I've taught you the wrong way to pronounce it, real, because I say it so much more than you, and I'm sure you don't hear it in your day-to-day life. So you've picked up a bad habit from me. So I
Okay.
apologize for that.
Well, I've
Um,
heard it. I had actually spoke to somebody. Did I tell you about the guy that got mad at me in the Discord that was from Newfoundland? Newfoundland?
oh, interesting. What was he
Oh,
upset about?
um, okay, so I was talking about your theory and the Baal Thought and everything, and he didn't know who the Baal Thought was. And
Oh,
then he then I said he said that he didn't know. There were people in there in the Discord that said that heard him say, like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, and I said, the indigenous people of Newfoundland.
yeah.
So
Hmm.
he goes,
Well,
"Oh, you mean the Beothark?" And
oh,
I was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Yeah, that's it." He was like, "Oh, well, you pronounced it Beothark, so I didn't know what you were talking about." And I was like, "Huh?" So
okay,
I
come on.
brought it up on the
There's
live
only
stream,
there's only
and he,
three indigenous people in Newfoundland. The Micmac, I think it's pronounced
uh,
the Inuit and the Beothuk, and I think the Innu and the Inuit are sometimes conflated. They both have their place in Newfoundland, but they they're kind of quite similar peoples, and they sort of have they're sort of a Venn diagram a little bit. Um, but he should know, uh, in my opinion. Anyway, I've shared my
right.
screen reel. If we just want to
Oh,
give people
okay.
something pretty to look at while we talk.
Okay. Real quick, we got a super chat from
Mm.
Samerham. Thank you so much for your generosity, fam. And Samerham says, let's see here. You know how the yellow dude said he has many games he's playing? What if the talisman are also a game and he's making them feel safe with them for now, but really he controls where the monsters go? That's a very interesting thought, that because the talismans obviously have some sort of rules to them. And
I don't know. I think that there are different beings on this show, and the tools that are being used against different beings might only work against some or the other based on the
oh yeah, the
teams.
talismans seem to work on the monsters and the stakes seem to work on the Cabbage Patch dolls.
Yeah.
And you you
And the
have
man in yellow isn't affected by the talismans either. So you
okay,
got to
so
wonder.
now we're getting into some talk where I have these notes here. I'm working on my video. I'm not going to talk about anything in my notes, but I definitely have some evidence about the entity that I don't think many people are really talking about. But I'm
Well,
not going to
I'm
get
all
into
ears because, I'm very confused about the entities. They were once humans. Are those are the people from the 1960s, you know, are they just part of this story? So what if before the 1960s there were no monsters and there were just the beings, like the man in yellow, the boy in white, whatever, right? What if in the 1960s the people in Fromland finally succumbed to temptation and did a sacrifice of children, and they did then subsequently get turned into monsters and become trapped there, and they're just sort of part of the story, the evolving story of Fromland. And the ritual that they performed mirrors the ritual that started the curse of Fromland in the first place. That may be what's happening, but it doesn't feel very natural, you know? It's kind of like, okay, so we decided that like midway through the story, even though we've given you almost nothing on it, um, that we just decided to add monsters to the story in the 1960s for some reason. I don't get it. How can they? So the only way that this is real is if the souls of the original villagers somehow take control of the people from the 1960s. And so the people from the 1960s technically get to live forever because their bodies continue on, but technically their soul is trapped in Fromland somewhere, and the souls of the original townsfolk are in the monsters. But
Okay, so I want
I
to
don't know.
ask you. I like that. I like that. Like, but here's my question. Here's my and what you're saying makes sense because for me, you could correct me if I'm wrong. First, we'll go there first. Your This theory is pretty much based on the fact of the clothing time period of the monsters, correct? And the question, why would they be dressed in that time period if this situation with the children happened many cycles ago?
Yeah, so it would have to be that the souls of the villagers from the original sacrifice are just hanging around in Fromland, you know, the voices in Sarah's head. And then in the 1960s, the townsfolk are tempted into sacrificing their own children by the voices, something that doesn't happen very often. And their bodies become taken over by the souls of the original villagers who did the sacrifice in the first place and got to live forever in the sort of dead zone of Fromland that we haven't even seen yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you know, this question is very it's a very I see where this is. This will be the part that will not I don't think we'll ever get an answer for that this season at least.
No.
But the writers, if y'all listening, please explain why the slow walkers are dressed in the time period clothing that they're dressed in. Because if this thing happened so many cycles ago, the event that sacrificed the children predates the time period that we see these slow walkers dressing in. And they're and you know, a guy in a cowboy uniform or costume wouldn't be from the 1960s, you know. Well, even though that aesthetic
No.
has lasted through time, even still to this day, people dress like that. That's not what I'm saying. I'm
Okay.
saying that he stands out amongst the others, like the diner woman, the mechanic, the milkman. But
Well,
I don't think that they're actually dressing as those people. I think that they're copying television show time period of that time. Because cowboys don't really look like that. That's like how a TV cowboy would look. That's how a TV milkman would look. The milkman wore jumpers, like gray jumpers back in the day. Like, you know, I remember my grandmother telling me about how they used to get milk and stuff like that. And I just didn't I in my brain, I automatically thought there was some sort of like guy in a white suit with a white hat on delivering milk. And
yeah.
that's not how it actually was. Like that's how it was on television during the 60s, like Leave It to Beaver and shit like that, you know. And the cowboy dude looks like a an extra from Bonanza or some shit. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah, it feels like a sitcom. It feels like sitcom characters from I Love Lucy and stuff like that.
Right,
You know,
exactly.
for a long time, I thought that these were Newfoundland fairies, imitating humans based on sitcoms that they watched on a TV in the caves, and now they're sort of locked into these illusions, and they don't understand humans well enough to bother updating their outfits. And perhaps because it takes great effort and concentration to lock into a new form or something. But now I feel like they're the corpses of people from the 1960s, which
So you think they stole the whole body and not just the aesthetic?
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
but I just don't get it, man. I mean, I'll be honest, like the logic of
I don't I
from
don't I don't see that happening, and the reason why is this: because
Mm.
Smiles Davis is reborn with his body, his same body. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yes.
And so if he's reborn with his same body and now he's got a different set of clothes on, now he's wearing a different set of clothes, which struck me as odd anyway, because I remember in season 3 when that one monster was on the ground faking to be dead and the ambulance pulled up and went and checked on her. Her wig wasn't even real. She didn't have a wig on. The wig just like disappeared into her head when she changed into the monster. You get what you see where I'm going with that?
Yes, I totally see. I get it. I totally get it.
Okay, so I'm just like I don't understand the rhyme and reason. Okay, so here's the
I don't
broader question.
understand anything real. It's like I don't see how they can explain this in a logical way. You know what I mean?
Well,
Like,
look at what Joe No says.
where is
Joe
it?
No says, I don't think they will tell us because it will reveal the truth about what's going on in the town.
Well, they have to at some point. I cannot believe that we're at the season finale, right? And I don't think we're gonna get any big reveals because it's all gonna focus on this raid, right? So it's just gonna be about who dies on the raid, who escapes, blah blah blah. Maybe someone will remember some stuff. But I don't see us getting any big revelations. Maybe we get introduced to a new character. That would be cool. But like a new monster, a man in black would be cool. Give me a man in black, I'll be happy. But they have season 5 to explain the 1970s timeline, the 1860s timeline, the original timeline, which I believe is in the 1500s, 1506. I think it's John Cabot, right? And they need to explain literally everything else because there are literally hundreds of things where everyone's just like, what the fuck is that? What the fuck is that? What does that mean? What does that mean? What does that mean? I cannot conceive of them answering everything in a season 5 unless there's some sort of crazy change of pace where we just get answers rapid fire. I
Yeah,
don't
that would
get
be,
it.
and that wouldn't be pleasing unless they did it in a good way. Hopefully they don't just have some character we've never seen come and explain all of the shit. That would be so whack. You know what I mean? Like, for instance, they announced Sophia, a character named Sophia, back in August, and they said that they would also be bringing a colonial woman, right? Here we are, on the horizon of episode 10, and we haven't seen a colonial woman yet. Like,
Oh,
you know,
okay.
what is going on? Like,
Well, we
they
I tell
haven't
you
really
what,
given us any history of anything. They've just still been
Julie,
kind of giving us clues.
Julie's got a story walk to the 1860s and 1970s. I just I have no idea where this show is going now, you know? Because it's season 4. I think we're gonna get to the end of season 4 and everything is still gonna be wide open. And they've said we've only got season, like, I just don't it's either spin-offs or Julie's gonna do some montage story walking where she's gonna see a shitload of stuff. You
Now,
know,
one thing that I do
I'll get it.
notice about this season that is different from all the seasons. Um, first season, they get to a problem, and then it's revealed what's going on in season 2, very beginning. The problem, boy stuck in the well, Tabitha falls through the hole, then boom, we move to the next. Next season is solving a problem. Season 2, we had the music box situation. Boyd had to do what he had to do, but the cliffhanger was literally her falling off of a cliff or being pushed out of a tower and waking up
Mhm.
in the hospital. Third season, another problem to solve. This one was a more of a massive problem actually with all the numbers in the tree and everything. It
Uh,
took multiple people to figure out.
who
Boom, boom, boom.
who real? Tell me who put the numbers in the tree?
Right. Okay. So there's another one. That's another one we have to ponder. Right.
Why did they
Um.
put numbers instead of musical notes?
Right. Why would they make it a riddle to solve? You
Yeah.
know, maybe they didn't want someone to see, or I don't know what it was. It's all up in the air on what the rhyme and reason behind that is. That's so layered, right? And that was what the bigger. So they solved that problem, but then we got
What?
another problem
Why does
or
Ankui
another.
mean remember?
Why does Ankui mean? I don't. The only thing I can think of is that it's an alien language.
Or it's code, some code that some girls developed so they could talk to each other in secret, in front of their prison guards or something, you know, something like that, or something. They presented it as a riddle to be solved. What could Ankui possibly mean? And then the answer is something you couldn't have possibly guessed. It's just it means this. I hate it when something is presented like a mystery, and then everyone tries to solve it, and then it's it's this, and it was never guessable because it's something that we've made up, and it doesn't connect to anything that you could have possibly guessed. And yeah, that's just how it is. Like, that sucks for me. That doesn't make for a good mystery show that presents itself as a puzzle that you can solve. I mean, they literally had at the start of season 4, was it, somebody taking a bunch of puzzle pieces off the floor and pouring them in the bin, as if to say, right, guys, you've got some answers now, so you've got to kill some of your theories that don't match what you learned. And it's like, okay, you're telling us to theorize, but your answers never link back to clues that could have been solved, and they don't make sense currently. So
Okay,
I'm
so I'm
just
having deja vu. I'm having deja vu. I told you that the show is a vessel for symbolism. That's what the show is. I've been noticing this since around, I would say, 2017. Around the time Stranger Things came out. Think like Hollywood kind of lost its way, in my opinion. And even like with just the execution of things and how shows are delivered and how they land in the finales, or really good shows that never get to finish. They get canceled, but they were like, why would you cancel a show like that? It was just a vessel for symbolism. And here's a thought. I think if too much symbolism is released in a show, and I've seen this over and over again, that lines up with things that are actually happening in our reality, it gets canceled, or they just shit the bed with the writing. They'll switch the writing team. They'll they'll just go in a total different direction. That's what we saw happen with Westworld. Okay, Westworld was dropping some shit, and then it just became a total vessel for just all this symbolism they were throwing at us. Same thing with the show Counterpart. Just became a vessel for this symbolism that they were throwing at us. I'll give you another one, Outer Range on Prime. That was another really good one that they just cut out. Game of Thrones, they were dropping so many political hints in that. Um, and then at the end they just totally shit the bed. Like all of that's what's going on, and even the things that have been showing up in your theory, right, have come through with uh with the notes of symbolism being the entire vehicle you're driving in.
I know, but for me, it just looks like more clues to the things that I'm seeing, but I'm not seeing anything manifest. Like I'm finding it really hard to think of a single thing that has happened on the show that we could point to clues that aren't like glimpses of stuff in trailers, like who died and stuff like that. But I mean lore that's been revealed that I think, maybe the reincarnation thing you could have guessed. I went down the wrong track with that. I can accept that. But like, I really just don't see all these clues with symbols. I'm really not seeing that much outside of reincarnation that you could point to and say that was signaled by these esoteric symbols that we were noticing.
Okay,
I'm
I
I'm
can
still
point out
waiting for it.
several things. I can point out several things. One I think that we have yet to see. And I think next season we'll get an announcement that there'll be some sort of spin-off or movie or something.
Yeah, I think
We
there'll be spin-offs at the end of season 5. That's my opinion.
Yes. So we've identified a problem, and we're talking about how these things are just becoming like vessels for the symbolism. But we also have to couple it with the fact of the time that we're living in, where you have YouTube and people that will theorize and interact with the show and bring a whole different audience and bring their audiences to the show and continue to talk about the show so that people buy subscriptions to these platforms so that they can continue to watch the show. From is one of those shows. Last season, the fandom tripled by 3, right? The fandom tripled, and at the end of the season, the fandom is tripled now. And so let's just take it by hundreds. If you had like 100 people originally watching the show, now you've got 300 to 400 people watching the show after season 3. The crazy thing is the subscriptions didn't drop because
Yeah.
From is one of those kind of interactive shows where you want to watch it over and over again so you can see what you missed. You want to pick up on clues. People are talking about this. You even have comedians that are, doing sketch comedy based on the show. We live in an interactive time period. And when you design a show, it's smart to make it in that way so that even when the series is over, people are still talking about it, still sending subscriptions over to MGM to watch this show. You dig what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
I that's why. And okay, so when I first started covering this show was the beginning of my channel on YouTube, season 2. It were probably 10 people talking about this show. Season 3, then there were like 40 people talking about this show. Now there are literally hundreds of YouTube channels talking about this show, using AI to create the videos and all types of shit just to lock in on the fandom, the fandom's interactivity. You know, that is another reason why they're doing the show like this. I
I
mean,
just
look,
can't I
look at
can't
how they've
wait
been
another
promoting
year
things.
for answers, real. That's the problem.
Right.
I don't
You know,
I don't
I
I don't think season 4's finale is gonna give us much of anything.
I think it's gonna tell us what's going on, but like you said, it'll probably be something that was unsolvable.
Mm.
You know what I
Well,
mean?
I haven't even made any predictions for this season.
Most of the stuff that they gave us like you just said, not to even just repeat what you said, but like the only thing that you could have really possibly figured out on this show was the reincarnation thing. You know what
Yeah,
I mean? The
yeah.
story walking Julie shit was nothing. You couldn't have figured that out. There were clues behind it though. I
Well,
think Julie was
Julie,
always supposed
we
to story
we
walk.
we always knew she would time travel because that monster at the
The
start. I
monster
mean,
on the
literally
porch. Yeah.
season 1, episode 1, I knew she would time travel. because he was
Right.
like, "Julie, don't you recognize me?" I was like, "Okay, boom, time travel. We know it. We know
Okay,
it's
so here's an example of the symbolism, the show being a vessel for symbolism. In
Mhm.
season 2, I talked about all the Vesica Pisces symbolism, and I was wondering why they were doing a lot of Vesica Pisces symbolism in season 1 and season 2. And so I said, that's got to mean something. So I start
Mhm.
talking about it. I start talking about, digging deep on what it means, the meaning behind it, the hidden meanings, and it relates to how it relates to eggs. And then we saw eggs in Victor's lunchbox. And that's when I was like, boom, like this shit's gonna have something to do with eggs, right? And so that's why I kept talking about it. And then they put T and Chen on egg plate, and then also Fatima lays an egg. So it's like the symbolism did I would have never been able to figure out that Fatima was going to lay an egg, but the symbolism that led to that happening was definitely in the thread way back in season 1. You know what I mean? Now, here's what I definitely think happened. Tony shared an interview with me from Sci-Fi Visions channel. I wish I could pull
Yeah.
it up. I might pull it up. I might
I
pull it
watched
up.
that. I must say it was a disappointing listen.
It was a disappointing listen because they was capping, bro. I'm gonna tell you, when you tell somebody a half truth, that's a lie,
Yeah.
right?
Hey, I
For
gotta go,
instance,
man. I'm so sorry. I gotta dip very quickly.
okay, no
Sorry.
problem, no
Take
problem.
it
Thank you
easy.
for joining. Thank you for joining,
Bye-bye.
brother. Peace. But like I was gonna say, when you okay, so in this interview, they they were asked about Clara. Okay, I now my thought is this: I believe that they were actually hold on. All right, hold up. I believe now Clara was a character who kept showing up. Clara was a character who kept showing up. She was dressed in the same clothes every time we saw her. She did nothing other than just show up all the damn time in just the oddest places. And she had a few speaking lines, right? In this last episode, they revealed that Sarah had made a deal with this entity. Now, I have some notes about that I'm not going to get into. But one thing that I will say is that Clara literally said that she didn't even remember or think that that was real, that she met. So that means that everything we saw Clara doing had nothing to do with the deal she made. She wasn't doing any scouting, any reporting, anything. She wasn't doing any of that at that point. She just now started doing that because Sophia approached her, revealed to her with the black eyes and whatnot, and there you have it. Now she's working for her. If Clara was suspect the whole time and she hadn't been doing anything, didn't even remember or thought that that whole situation was real, then that means that nothing she did was she was just being. That means that the writers made her this person that made a deal as fan service. That's what that means. That means that this was totally fan service, them giving you Clara, them giving you Clara with the jump. Okay. So we have the fan service, and that's how that happened. That's what that means. Couldn't mean anything else. Clara was not doing anything beforehand. She said, I didn't even think that was real. Now, I would like to say that I like that fan service. I think it's better than the fan service of how they gave us Smiles Davis coming back through a woman that was already pregnant, and now they haven't even addressed it. You know, because it was just admission that y'all killed the wrong monster. Y'all killed the monster that y'all put on the poster with Boyd's face screaming. And then y'all killed that monster. Y'all shouldn't have killed that monster. That's the monster y'all made famous. That's the monster that got the old people on the bus. It shouldn't have even been in the script to kill him. He was menacing. Now you want to keep him, but they had to bring him back. They said, we're going to bring him back. Now, I don't think that was always supposed to be brought back. I don't think he was always supposed to be brought back, but they said it was. And they're not going to just tell you, because that would be corny to just tell you what it is. But I think them making Clara the Mole was strictly fan service. Just like them having to bring Kotri back in season 2. That's another admission that we killed the wrong person. The back and forth between Boyd and Kotri really held the show together. And when he died, I was actually surprised. I was like, damn, they got rid of him? Nobody else compares to the conversations that Boyd and Kotri have. The back and forth between them was doper than the back and forth between Boyd and Donna. So they had to admit that, bring him back, and look at every one of their scenes together. Every one of their scenes together is like a back and forth fight and an argument, because that was the magic that they had in season 1. So bringing Kotri back was an admission. And then they said, oh, we got rid of Tom. We'll bring him back too, just to make it look like this is what happens here. We got to do that again. Tom hasn't been back, right? Tom hasn't been back this whole season, but Kotri has. I think they made it. They even admitted to making a mistake of killing Trudy. She was like the sex appeal of a place like Colony House, where they have orgies, they are open and free and carefree, they share things. All of those points were things that they focused on with Trudy. Trudy kind of embodied the vibe of Colony House more than any other character. She was sexy, carefree. She talking about riding Jay like an alabaster dragon. She will steal your shit. She was the one that was like trying to share everything with everyone. You dig what I'm saying? And you killed her. She kind of embodied the whole idea of Colony House. You know what I'm saying? I think that was a mistake as well. You know what I mean? I think it was a mistake. How come we haven't seen the Jasmine monster again? Even if you're not doing anything with that actress, you could have brought in another actress to play the Jasmine monster. She gave us some information. We didn't choose to be this way. She actually built a relationship with one of the people inside. What did she tell him that made him comfortable enough to let her in? Did she disclose how they became? Did the porn stash dude know what Fatima figured out? Did he know about anything? I think those are some kind of mistakes that they made. I think they made mistakes in this last episode. One thing From is always done, they've always showed us a day and a night, or a night and a day. They've never showed us a day, a night, and then another day. And they did that this last episode. And I don't know if I'm the only one, but it kind of felt rushed and fast. Like, damn, boom, by the end of the episode, we're in there digging with shovels. Little ass shovels and then this big ass fucking slab of rock that we moved with crowbars. I think that whole scene is kind of ass. And I'm going to just be real with you. But I love the show. I love the show. That whole, and then even the way that they ended the episode right there on that was kind of ass. Am I bugging or am I cooking? You know what I'm saying? But there's a couple of other things. If it was a little half-assed. TG said they love that scene. Okay. They love that scene. The pacing has been off with this entire season. They started this season out slow. You know, I'm sure that I'm not the only person that saw how fast the last episode was moving. I wish. Let me look in the chat real quick. Let me get in here. So mad they canceled Counterpart and Outer Range. Yes, yeah, that was, both of those were like gems that should have. Even the one, what was it called, Peripheral? That shouldn't have been. Lovecraft Country, another one. Yeah, that shouldn't have been. Yeah, but see what these shows ended up being were vessels for symbolism. And when you look back at these shows, you've seen things that happened in our actual reality. Okay. Now, y'all know me, I talk that shit on this channel here, and I can back it up and show and prove everything. Okay. Counterpart started filming in 2017. Okay. Counterpart was started filming in 2017. Way before COVID, way before the George Floyd situation. I bring those two up specifically because I'm going to show you something. I would pull up the actual video and show you, or pull up the episodes and like literally show you. But I've done that before on a live stream, and the live stream got clipped. And they obviously didn't want me talking about this. But okay, so Counterpart, season 1, episode 3, there's a scene where a woman is sitting in a movie theater and she's about to watch a movie, and she's watching the commercials before the movie comes on. And one of the commercials is a PSA. One of them is a PSA, and it tells people pretty much, if you see somebody out here coughing and sneezing, put your mask on and go report them to the authorities. Okay. That's something that actually happened in 2020 after COVID jumped off, and it was called contact tracing. And you could actually get a job, and they were paying like $27 an hour or such to do contact tracing. Okay. So this was in 2017. But here's the banger. Season 2, episode 6. Okay. Season 2, episode 6. Now, just a little background of the show without spoiling anything. This show is literally about two worlds that were identical, and something happened. Two worlds that were exactly identical. And the doorway between these worlds were under a building where many people worked in this building. And under that building was a doorway to the other world that was totally identical. So that means, like, if you were to go down in that building, walk to that door, and open the door, you would see yourself down there from the other side. He's also down there opening the door with you. Everything is identical. Everything in your world is identical to his world. And the things that you do the identical things. If I buy my daughter a gift, he buys his daughter the same exact gift from the same exact store. So that's what the show Counterpart is about. Okay. Now, season 2, episode 6 had a person in there that was taken and tackled by the cops, and the pressure was put on the back of their neck, just like George Floyd. The cop was kneeling down, and he wasn't actually kneeling on the character, but he was kneeling down and he was putting the pressure down with his hand. The parents ran over and said he can't breathe, and it was just like the spectators at the George Floyd situation, and the whole thing ring George Floyd. Right now, this place is about two worlds that are identical. The name of that episode was called Twin Cities. This is an episode that was filmed in 2018. Okay. And now, Twin Cities, Minneapolis. So when I was watching the show, I was a latecomer. I started watching it in 2020. The George Floyd situation happened while I was in season 2. I got to episode 6, and it was called Twin Cities. And imagine all the protests and things going on during the George Floyd time, because the George Floyd situation happened in Twin Cities. I got to this episode and I saw that the title was called Twin Cities. And I said, man, it better not be no shit like the George Floyd shit happening in this episode. You know what I'm saying? And sure enough, it was. So like these shows become a vessels for symbolism, okay? And when things are done, now, hey, I'm saying this, I'm cooking right now. You could go verify this for yourself. Don't take my word for it. Go watch the show Counterpart. Go watch it. Start from the beginning. As a matter of fact, the season 2, episode 6 episode, it's so dope. It could have been the first episode in the series. I don't know why it wasn't, but I mean, it's neither here nor there. But yo, we got a super chat. We got a super chat real heavy from Luna Cascade. Thank you so much, sis. Appreciate you for your thoughts and your generosity as well. I before I even read the comment, I looked at your ritual comment, and yes, you are definitely you're cooking, boiling, baking, fricasseeing, pickling. You're doing everything that the kitchen can provide with that comment, and and you posted that comment, from my understanding, before episode 9, and Sophia's speaking of actual rituals and this place being a place of ritual. I have some things in my notes about that. I want to say this. Her line about the rituals and it's not about what you do, it's how you do it, is almost a direct quote from one of my sinners videos. I'm watching I'm watching my own sinners video so I can go find the point of where I said it. But it's so crazy because I did the sinners videos last year before they even started filming the show. But yeah, we definitely gonna talk. So the comment, thank you again for your generosity, sis. She says your egg theory matches well with my ritual tools observation. Egg is chalice, tool, and ritual, most definitely. Especially when you're talking about the ritual of all life. All of us come from an egg. All of us come from an egg inside the mother. Those eggs were inside the grandmother as well. When your mother was an infant inside of her mother, her undeveloped eggs were inside of her there. You know what I'm saying? So the egg that created you was literally inside of your grandmother. And we talked about this. I talked about the grandmother spider deity, okay, with my first video. All of the mentions of grandmothers, Jim being the widow's son, Elgin knitting owls with his grandmother. Knitting is another thing from the grandmother spider deity, you know, and all of these are ritual form. Like when you make a mask or when you make something, that's a ritual. There's something into that. You know, you're putting your human essence into that piece of wood that you turned into a chess piece. You dig what I'm saying? And we see that happening as well on from handmade items, handmade native items. You had the chess pieces of Kenny and his father. You had the dream catcher that was gifted to Fatima. You had these ritual things going on. And you know, I'm just trying to talk without actually getting into my notes. But yes, indeed, we cooking, sis, definitely. Let me look in the comments and see what else we have in here. I think I think the show created Sophia as a fan, as a character to avoid fans being right about Clara. Fans were not right about Clara though. The episode shows you that Clara wasn't doing anything suspect before that. This is something that comes after. The fans suspected Clara before Clara was called to do or be a mole. You dig what I'm saying? And it actually is an extension of Sophia actually being the mole. Now, I've never called Donna a mole, right? But I have said that Donna has suspect tendencies, and her story about her sister is suspect, and I think that she knows something that she's not divulging to the rest of the people, because we've seen her actually do that so many times. The food shortage, the voice on the radio, like she don't want to tell people nothing, right? And it's always her go-to to say, hey, we're not going to tell anybody anything. You know what I mean? And I think that was her way of protecting people. I think that Donna knows that when you find shit out or you tell people shit, something bad happens. I think that's why Donna was doing it. And just to give you one little piece out of my notes, I think that Donna may have had a similar situation to Clara with being visited by an entity and told some information, right? I've always looked at Clara as Donna's eyes and ears. I kind of feel like Dale was also the eyes and ears for Donna as well. You know, that she would, that's the way that they contributed with Donna to keep Colony House safe. I mean, in a place where you have multiple people, of course you would actually have to have someone there with eyes and ears. Because I mean, look at what happened with Porn Stash. He let one of the fucking monsters in the window. That's the main reason why I would never live in Colony House. I'd go up there every day, get me some weed, sit and chill. We'd be laughing, drinking and whatnot. I don't drink no more, but I'd be up there at Colony House chilling. I'd be doing music with somebody up there. I'd be doing work in the garden, doing, you know what I mean? I'd rock at Colony House during the day, but me, I'm gonna live down in town. And if they say, hey, you can't do that, you can't keep coming, man, fuck that. I'm coming up here. What y'all gonna do? Y'all gonna lock me up for that? You gonna put me in the box for that? Like I'm not living in this house with too many people. I can't trust that. Y'all might let a motherfucking monster in here. And that's exactly what happened. So yes, indeed. I think that a similar situation happened to Donna, like what happened to Clara. And we'll find out. We'll find out. I think that Donna knows something that she's not disclosing to the people. You know what I'm saying? Um Elizabeth said needed that alabaster dragon back. Yeah, Tom's character had nothing else to offer. Jade's subconscious questions. Exactly. So they brought Tom back to to put the smoke screen up because they had to admit their mission with bringing Kotri back. So there's like, okay, we're gonna bring Tom back too. We just gonna make it seem like this place like will bring people back for you. You know what I mean? Because think about it. Why has why has why is Jade seeing Tom and not Toby? You know what I'm saying? That makes no sense. Uh yeah, they regretted killing her off in an interview. They filmed the Alabaster Dragon scene after they killed her. Oh, and it was like, damn, we fucked up. Yeah. Yup. That's I'm telling you, yeah, they admitted that. What happened to the kimono lady? That's just another mystery. And what does she had to do with anything? Was she just an evil, twisted, dark midwife for births in this place when a monster needs to be reborn? And if you kill a monster, does that happen every time somebody in this place end up pregnant and blah blah blah? Is that what happens? You know what I'm saying? uh Yo, they keep telling, yo, how in the hell they keep telling us time is running out? They need to be reflecting on the fact that time is running out for them to give us more answers. I don't even think we're going to get 80% of the answers for the mysteries that have been presented to us. I don't even think we're going to get 80%. I'm saying I'm going to be disappointed if we don't at least get 80% of these answers. You know what I mean? I'm going to be disappointed if we don't get 40% this next episode. I'll give them another, make it easy on them. Give us the rest of the shit for this episode. Give us 40%. Put us at least 40% way to 100 on knowing what's going on. That'll give you another 40% for next season. You know what I mean? We need to get there. The reincarnation bit is not good enough. You know what I'm saying? We need some other shit. Like, what is this place? Why are all the people being brought there? Clearly, they're not all reincarnated because that would defeat the whole everybody stuck here bullshit. You know what I'm saying? So everybody is obviously not stuck there. You know what I mean? That would mean that Ethan was reincarnated into this place again, right? That would mean that. And that then, so now you would be saying that Tabitha birthed another person that was here. In this reality, she birthed another person that was here. It'd be very convoluted. Too much bullshit, you know? So that's obviously not what's happening. I think that some of these people are brought there because of their ancestors. This is why they gave us the bit about Bacta's grandmother knowing the nursery rhyme. And the nursery rhyme itself is telling you no one there is free. So, they're talking about free. Now, when we talk about free, I think that is a message. Now, they had this brought to us from Bhakta, right? And they made a conscious decision to make one of Jade's reincarnates a black Civil War soldier. So you have Bhakta, the black bus driver, okay? Bus driving having civil rights connotations added to it as well. But her grandmother, who was obviously around during the civil rights period, knowing this situation, you have the black Civil War soldier, and the song saying "No one there is free." Now, the black Civil War soldier was probably one of the other. He was either a freed man or a free man. There's a difference. A free man, right, is someone who was never enslaved. Okay. A freed man, right, is someone who was enslaved and was set free. And then they went through an indoctrination system called that was put out there by the Freedmen's Bureau. It was called the reassimilation, right? They wanted to reassimilate former slaves into regular life. And so if you were a slave, you had to go to this school at the Freedmen's Bureau. And they had them all over the South. And you went to these schools and they indoctrinated you, you know what I'm saying, into a system, you know. And most of that system included reclassification because a lot of the people that were enslaved were actual indigenous people. And some indigenous people enslaved other indigenous people and captured Africans. Now, there's a difference between slaves and prisoners of war. But I'm not going to, you know what? I'm going way out in the deep end. But this show actually touches on a lot of that. It even talks about the Alex Haley's roots situation when you have Jade finding the root system, right? Jade also plays the fiddle, and he came into town with a person named Toby. Now, Toby and Fiddler are the two main characters from the movie Roots. So I know that that situation was purposely encoded into the show's makeup, you know, with the Roots, Jade, Toby, him playing the fiddle, the whole nine. They literally had to select someone that plays the fiddle, right? So that right there was, that right there to me was just dope. You had the Jim Crow aspect. Jim was crawling like a crow. Um, they probably said, we need this Crow Man character and we'll name him Jim for Jim Crow. If you look at Thomas Matthews, not only was his name the name of the Trump shooter, but Thomas Dartmouth Rice was also the name of the man who created the Jim Crow minstrel character. So I thought that all of these elements were really dope and how they were baking all of this uh dark history American symbolism within the show. I thought it was really dope. I'm one who doesn't like the constant rehashing and telling the same old stories. But I am definitely impressed with the way that they encoded the show with these metaphors that have to do with America's dark past. You have I'm digging in my notes again. Right, here's another part of my notes. You have the American flag that was being taken down, the tattered American flag that was being taken down this episode. And you also have this spiritual border, right? Because all of the people that are coming into Frumlin are driving or traveling in the contiguous United States. So this means that the entity is respecting the homogenized borders that were created by men, right? Isn't that interesting? Isn't that very interesting, right? So, those are some of the things that I definitely like about this show. I love the symbolism, you know what I mean? Let me see what's going on in the chat real quick. I know I've been ranting for a while and y'all be cooking. You cooking, you cooking. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Let's see here. Who is in the building? Who is in the building? Oh, we got CQ in the building. We got Miss Heather X with the super chat. Thank you for your generosity. And Miss Heather X says, "Are you planning on covering Widow's Bay? Would be dope if you did." Yes, I am. I'm going to start doing some live streams about Widow's Bay, but I have a whole Bible over here of notes for Widow's Bay, and I'm going to start cooking on my free time. Widow's Bay is definitely another show that's like from that will help Apple TV to retain subscriptions because people are watching those episodes over and over again. If you look at the ratings for each episode are not really dropping. The ratings have been very steady with that show. And by the end of the season, they did announce Widow's Bay coming with a season 2. So I thought that was real dope. Like, and I'm glad that it's coming with a season 2 because I didn't get a chance to do anything on season 1. I was like, I'm locked in on From, so it's like it was hard for me to just like break away. I like to add time and take time to do my videos. I'm not just throwing some shit at the wall hoping it sticks. I actually like to think about this stuff, but I strive to get it wrong. You know what I'm saying? I strive to get it wrong because I'm having fun, and all of you guys actually are beneficial to this journey. So thank you very much for the super chat and your thoughts on this. But yeah, Widow's Bay definitely fire. And it won't. It's not one of those ones that's getting canceled. We got Galaxy A in the building with the new membership. Go ahead and celebrate with those emojis. Welcome to the Magnify. Let's see. What else do we have in the chat? Fringe is real dope. Fringe, universes like Counterpart, Outer Range. Yes, yes. You know, Outer Range was just like, yo, what is going on? Like, why did y'all get rid of Outer Range? I don't understand for the life of me. The first season was fire. The second season was absolute lava. Like, what the fuck did y'all get rid of that show for? The writer's strike, don't give me a break with the writer's strike bullshit. I have a whole lot of shit that I want to say about the writer's strike. I talked about it before on a live stream before. I even mentioned it in one of my videos on when I started the channel. Like, the writer's strike is some bullshit. There was some bullshit from the very beginning. People asking for something that is not even logistically possible. And also the other side of it was something that you just have your lawyer handle and your make sure your contracts is right. If you don't want anybody using your image and likeness and stuff, then make sure that shit's in your contract. Make sure your lawyer's on top of all of that stuff right there. You know what I'm saying? Make sure you're not signing a contract. Why do we need to strike about this? You know what I mean? And as far as the streaming money and getting paid more money, that's not going to happen. You're going to get paid for what you do on here, and it's not going to be a royalty based thing unless that's in your contract. Again, that all has to do with contract because shows are created. There's an owner of that show, and that owner leases the mechanical rights to different streaming platforms. So, how are they going to take a person's subscription and divvy it up to each subscription platform, to each show you watch? Like, if you pay $7.99 and you watch 30 different TV shows, how do they divvy up your $7.99 amongst the 30 shows you watch? That's not how it works. That's not going to happen. I don't understand why the writer's strike even did what it didn't even accomplish anything but set a bunch of shows back. It made Severance fucking had take a 3-year hiatus before we even got a season 2. So like, yo, I don't even want to talk about that part no more. Let me go down a little bit in the chat to see what else y'all talking about. You know what I'm saying? Hold on, hold on. Can you read my super chat? I got it. Didn't I get it? I got it. Okay, okay. Knickknack Studios is in the building. Says good news. John Griffin did say when you find out what this place is, so at least we'll know what this place is by the end of it. Okay, so what do you mean by the end of it or by the end of this season? We need to know something this season. And the cliffhanger that they put us on for episode 9 means that they're going to be dealing with the problem from episode 9 and episode 10. Then there's going to be another problem. And the way that they end these, the way that each finale's been is either a problem being ended or a problem being presented. I think they're going to do both this season. I think they're going to do both this season. Something being solved or something being, resolved. you know. So yeah, let me look down in here and see what's going on. There's a couple of other things. You know what? My voice is coming through the diner radio. You know what I'm saying? Let me turn the lights on the joint better here. Yeah, my voice is coming through the diner radio. I need to go ahead and put some pictures up here so that we can talk a little something something. Taryn just hit me up. Hold on, what's brother saying? Oh, okay. Oh yeah, this is off the topic. Okay, yeah. my dude. My dude. Let me show some love on that post right there, what he sent me. Anyway, is my man Ray, is the Soul Taker 06 in the chat? If the Soul Taker 06 is in the chat, hey, we got Joy in the building with us. Quan Solar is in the building. What's going on, brother? How you? Yeah, Widow's Bay season 1 is better than From season 1. It definitely, From's first episode, the pilot episode, is way better than most pilot episodes on TV. But the season as a whole, I felt like after the first season of From, I walked away with zero answers. The only answers that we got, and that was just half a ass answer, is who brought the talismans to the town. And so that they answered that for us. That was Boyd that did that. So that's the only thing you got in season 1. It's it. You got nothing else. You learn nothing else in season 1 whatsoever. You know what I mean? When you look at how shows are put together, I think that was a bit of stringing us along, especially with the way we got no deaths in season 2 that mattered. Nothing really eventful happened, and then you push Shorty out of a tower, presenting more mystery. There's no answers in season 2. So we have been strung along a bit. But season 4 is delivering us some things, and season 3 did deliver something major to us. I mean, we know the reincarnation situation, but I think there are more layers to it. There's more rhyme and reason to it. You know what I mean? One thing that this show does, it makes the characters theorize on stuff, and some people sometimes, if a character theorizes something, people think that it's canon, and people think that that's what it is. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think that that is how From works. I think that From, like, for instance, it shows you people coming up with theories all the time. Then it even has Kenny several times. Well, let me get this straight. So you got a theory that's going to get us all home. Like, he's always questioning people like that. Like, you know, even you had Dale sitting around theorizing when Ellis was drunk and confronted him. You know what I'm saying? Ellis got drunk and he's like, yeah, it's a pocket dimension. He's like, shut up, man. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. And like, you know what I'm saying? So those things are the writers talking to us about theories, and, you know, and they were doing that since season 1, you know. Tabitha going to Father Kotri asking if everyone is dead. That was a theory that everybody was going to have. You know what I'm saying? You know, so let's see here. What's going on? What's going on in the chat? All right, so is Ray in here? Is Ray in here? Does anybody see Ray? The Soul Taker 06? Is Ray in here? Because I want to talk about his theory as well. Okay, so I started just briefly listening to a video about Chrono Trigger. Hold on. Let me pull up let me see if I can add something to the screen for a second. Let me see if I can add something. We up here butt booty naked right now. Let me see. I want to find some Chrono Trigger stuff. Now, Chrono Trigger definitely has something to do with this show. My man Ray, I should have been listening to you last season. I was listening to you, but I just did never play the Chrono Trigger game. but it is definitely connected to this show in more ways than what you think, my brother. And man, I wish I had your number or something I could call you and tell you to hop on. If anybody knows Ray, tell brother to get on real quick. I'm gonna put the link in the chat real quick so the brother can get on if he is listening, or anyone else that knows about Chrono Trigger. Chrono Trigger is a video game from the 90s. That's one another part that I didn't know. I thought Chrono Trigger was some like brand new game on these new gaming systems and shit like that. No, Chrono Trigger came off on the Super Nintendo. Okay. Now there's an element to the creators that actually point right back towards from. All right. Yeah. Yeah, we out here with nothing on the screen. So let me go ahead and present something. I'm gonna put the man in yellow up on the screen. Now just note, no, I'm not gonna say that. That's in my notes. We'll just talk about that later. Now, hold on here. Now, Chrono Trigger is a video game, and it's about time travel and all this other stuff, right? But it has something to do with an egg, okay? That's a weapon, okay? This weapon is an egg that I believe. Now, see, I don't know much about it, you know, but but it also has something to do with the golem. Now, Ray was talking about this last season, and then you know, Fatima's golem comes up. So I'm watching. I went on a YouTube video and looked up the Chrono Trigger lore, and I started watching a video about it, and it starts breaking everything down. And one of the first pictures that it shows is none other than my main man, Akira Toriyama. Hold on. Let me just pull up the video that I was watching earlier. How about I do it like that? Okay. And just so you guys know, Real Enigma's live channel also is playing this broadcast. Go over there, subscribe to my Real Enigma's live channel, where I will be doing more live streams about other issues like the issue with television, some of this conspiracy stuff, and a lot of stuff about the music business as well. I'll be decoding some music videos. We'll be getting into it. And I will be also decoding like content, like TikTok content, Instagram content that are posted by artists, okay, that are, you know, signed artists. And I'm going to show how the hidden hand not only works in Hollywood movies and TV shows, but it's also in the music industry. You know what I'm saying? I know I'm going to be pissing a lot of fucking people off, people that know me from the music industry. Um, but more people that I deal with in the music industry tell me that I should talk about this than people that tell me that I shouldn't. So fuck them. I'm gonna do it. Um, yeah, and that's just what that is. So you can go check the Real Enigmas live channel for some updates on that. It'll be coming real soon. But where is the Chrono Trigger? And shout out to my cousin, my sister, my friend, Debbie Ebby Bo Bebby, Banana Fanafo Febby Fee Fi Mo Mebi, Debbie. I love you, Debbie. You know what I'm saying? I know you're not rocking with us today, but I know you love us. You know what I'm saying? And we love you, you know, just so you know. You know what I mean? Here it is, the complete history of Chrono Trigger. So this is what I was watching. I'm gonna pull this up here. Let me remove Old Yeller off the screen. You know what I'm saying? And get this Chrono Trigger thing up there. Okay. Okay, so we have the Chrono Trigger situation here. Y'all see how far I got into this? I was like right here. Okay. let me go back way to the beginning. One of the first pictures on here, and it showed me something that I said, oh shit. Okay, first of all, shit looks like Dragon Ball Z. Okay, looks like Dragon Ball. More like Dragon Ball Z. You know what I mean? Dragon Ball Z style Akira Toriyama. This brother right here is Akira Toriyama. Okay, hold on. Let me just pull it out. Full screen it real quick. Hold on. Am I showing it? No, it's not showing. Okay, here it is. Here it is. Oh, Gab is in the building with us. Great stuff as always. Can't wait for the finale. Yes, indeed. Yes, I can't wait for the finale. You know what I'm saying? Thank you for subscribing to that channel. If y'all want to just tap into me, not just talking about From, but hearing me talk about other stuff, and I'll be, doing some videos over there as well, talking about the music industry. I'll be giving some tips. I'll be giving some mixing and mastering tips as well. I'll go live from the studio, start going live from the studio. You know what I mean? Real Enigmas live channel. Go check it out. But here is Akira Toriyama. Okay. Akira Toriyama is the one who is sitting down. He is the creator of Dragon Ball. Okay. Now, in Dragon Ball, there is a character named Tien Chen. Okay. And I'm just dropping this to you in my notes real quick. I was going to do a video with this, but I didn't want to, do it without really knowing too much about Chrono Trigger. So I just think that we'll talk about it on the live streams, and when brothers like Ray can come through, Lawrence as well. Shout out to Lawrence. He came through. People that can come through and talk about Chrono Trigger, because I don't know much about it, and I'm not gonna sit up here in front like I do. I mean, y'all see the video that I'm watching right now is telling you everything about Chrono Trigger. And okay, so the character, there's a character on Dragon Ball named Tien Chen. Okay, and Tien Chen is the lonely dragon. Okay, we have found out that where that symbol is found, beneath that symbol is the bones. And Sophia has done everything but confirm that yes, it could help you get out of this place, but it has to be done in a specific way. Okay. Now I'm not going to talk any more about that because more of that is in my notes. But Tien Chen is where they found the bracelet. And Tabitha was sitting at the table, and in the storage room at the diner is where they found the bracelet. Tabitha sitting at the table. Ethan says, "What are you doing?" Tabitha said, "Nothing. Just sitting here looking at this piece of Lonely Dragon's treasure." Okay. Now, at the beginning, in episode 3 of season 1, episode 103, Tabitha said there will be 2 Chromonakles. 2 Chromonakles in the cave, 2 Chromonakles for you. That's what she said to Ethan. So that means that her and Jade are both Chromonakles. Jade is the Chromonacle who received the map from the storage room with the symbols in it. The symbols is directly above where the bones are, right? Okay. So that makes sense. That tracks. Victor is the other lonely dragon because he is also a hoarder of things that nobody wanted, of things. He is also a hoarder and a collector of things. And he also gave Tabitha a map showing her how to get to the bottle. He didn't give her a map, but he showed her how to get to the tower. He gave her a picture of the bottle tree / faraway tree, right? So he gave her that. Tien Chen gives Jade the book. Victor gives Tabitha the picture of the faraway tree with the bottles hanging from it. Okay. Both of those ways, both of those things are indicative of the map that was given to the Chromonacle by the Lonely Dragon, the map of the rainbow sky, right? Okay. So just to be clear, the Lake of Tears has nothing to do with any of that. And the Lake of Tears is not in the Chromonacle book. It is not in there. It doesn't have it. The Lake of Tears is something that Ethan thinks he made up. But, and I'm not going to get into that real quick either. However, Dragon Ball, Tien Chen, a character being named Tien Chen, and Tien Chen being one of the Lonely Dragons. Okay. Now let's get into the video a little bit. Okay, so this video game, as you can see, is on that Super Nintendo vibe. Okay. And this, here it is right here. Okay, so there are two different timelines. So in this, now this is not my theory about the Chrono Trigger having connections to From. However, it definitely reinforced the connections to From are undeniable with this. Okay, because there's even a Gollum in here and everything. So the connections to From are undeniable to Chrono Trigger, right? The connections to Super Mario are undeniable to From as well. You have the faraway trees that are the warp pipes. You had Jade going on the magic mushroom trip. The picture of Storywalker Fred looked just like Mario with a wrench. Then you had Christy wearing a Storywalker Fred jumper, but her jumper was actually a plumber's jumper, and Mario and Luigi were plumbers. So those connections are undeniable. Video game connections are undeniable. Role-playing games are undeniable. RPGs are undeniable. And Chrono Trigger is an RPG. That's probably why I didn't play Chrono Trigger, because I didn't like RPGs. I like video games like, Tekken and shit like that, like, Street Fighter, you know what I mean? I even like Mario, you know what I'm saying? Mario, I fucked with shit like that, but I didn't really mess with the, Legend of Zelda real heavy. I didn't mess with that real heavy. I didn't mess with a lot of the RPGs. I didn't mess with those. But From is definitely a RPG. And a lot of the characters act and they behave like NPC characters in a video game. A lot of them act and behave in that way. They're all walking with the same types of items. You know what I'm saying? They're doing a lot of the same gestures and movements in the background. And sometimes they're just standing out in the middle of the street, just talking and shit. Like, what are y'all just standing out here by this shit for talking? Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, they act like they're actually in a video game at times. And you have the Pac-Man parallels as well, where you have a road that if you go in one end and come out the other end, you see what I'm saying? That's just like the Pac-Man portals, okay? So video games definitely was supposed to be a part of the wheelhouse of theory crafters. And I have heard a couple of people liken this to video games, but not too much. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? So hold on. Let's look here. You have this timeline at the top, right? This one is what happens when nobody interfered or intervened. You had the prehistory, the antiquity, the Middle Ages, the present, and then you had the apocalypse in the future. So this was the timeline up here that he was discussing for one portion of the video. The other portion of the video is the same timeline, right? But it is when the players interfere with the events that are happening, okay, through the time travel mechanism. So this would be the story walker part, or the repetition of something happening with different things happening. Okay. So Sophia has indicated that things happen differently. Why? I can give you a couple of good instances right off my head. When the crows showed up and she asked the question, she said, "Do the crows always do that?" You know what I'm saying? And she seemed genuinely shook when it happened as well. You have number 2 is when the man in yellow approaches Tabitha at the RV and says, do you remember me? And he's like, she said, no. He said, oh, you haven't come to that part yet. So obviously, he's not in full detail of what is happening. Another instance is when they came into the house, when he came into the house with Clara, well, when Sophia came into the house with Clara, she called out for Sarah. She called out for Sarah, and Sarah didn't, Sarah wasn't there, but she wasn't sure if Sarah was there or not. So that means, and these are directly from my notes too. I know I said I wasn't going to give y'all some of this, but here it is. But Sarah wasn't in the house, and Sophia didn't know that. And so obviously she can't see or bear witness to it, right? Because she wouldn't have had to ask. She wouldn't have had to ask Tabitha, do you remember me? She wouldn't have had to ask if the crows do this. There are certain things. Sophia's line of questioning is to put thoughts in other people's head. But there would be no, like the questions that she was asking Kenny, right? She was saying, asking him questions. And he said, yeah, all of this started when they got here, So she flipped that and said that to Julie. So obviously her lining of questioning to people is to either stir up trouble or to actually find out what the fuck is going on. The biggest clue to this is Clara. If you could see everything, you wouldn't need Clara to see everything for you. You couldn't see the fact that they were sending both Tabitha and Jade down into the tunnel. You know what I'm saying? So there you have that. So she obviously cannot see everything. You know what I mean? It makes me wonder, are all of the voices the man in yellow that Sarah's hearing? I don't think so. I don't think that all of the voices that Sarah was hearing are the man in yellow. And a lot of people think that Sophia turning the diner radio on is proof that Sophia is who, or the man in yellow is who controls the radio. I don't think so. I think that there's another entity that's able to control the radio as well. You know what I'm saying? Some people are saying that the boy in white is the man in yellow. Some people are attributing everything that's happening to the man in yellow, and I think that's a grave mistake. You know what I'm saying? But folks, I think that this was dope right here with the Chrono Trigger thing. There's not really much I want to dive into without, having Ray up here to rock with me. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to keep this live too long. I actually got some things to do. I actually got a video to put together, but I got some things to do today before I get to this video. And I think might go ahead and end this live stream. If any, I'll put the link out real quick to see if anybody wants to come up and ask a question or anything like that. We'll keep it short. Ask a question. I'll give it about 5 minutes or so to see if anybody wants to come up and rap for a second. You know. You said E-Man. E-Man thinks that Martin is the man in yellow. I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think that. I think that Martin was actually somebody that got trapped there. Now, if Martin was there and died, then Sophia has revealed that she can only turn into the people that are have died there. It makes me wonder, is she gonna kill Elgin and turn into him? That would be a smart thing to do. You know what I'm saying? Because what if she does come from Victor's time period and Victor ends up remembering who she is? You know what I'm saying? And Shorty still ain't changed clothes yet. You know what I mean? But Clara didn't change clothes either. I thought that was very interesting. Demo is in the building. Demo, what's going on? I dropped the link down there. See if you can come up. I'm about to end the stream in a little bit anyway. Sophia seemed surprised at Bacta's response to her using the radio. Yeah, she did. She seemed surprised. And I think that Sophia can control the radio, but also other entities are controlling the radio as well. You know what I'm saying? I don't think it's just Sophia. I don't think the man in yellow is the end all be all of the big bad here. You know what I'm saying? Man, I want to get into my notes. Just I will say this. I'm gonna say this. We really need to think about what's going on with Jade. I'm gonna just say that for my notes. And okay, I see a couple people. Elizabeth and Yaya is in the building. Thank you for joining me. What's going on, people? What's on your mind?
Hey, Real. Thanks for having me.
Oh, you're welcome.
Hey,
Oh, you're
how's it
welcome.
going? Thanks for allowing me to call in.
Indeed, Yaya. What's going on? What's going on? Elizabeth, tell me what's on your mind.
So, I'm I'm really curious if you think they're gonna answer or pay off any of the rendezvous clues. Like, I know they can't pay off everything in the finale, but the rendezvous thing, I saw that you covered. They're kind of putting it back in our faces again this season. And I'm wondering if Victor's sister Eloise maybe owns a moving company and is tracking moving trucks to try to find from Bill. I don't know if we're gonna get any rendezvous answers. Do you think?
I don't know if we're gonna get them this season. What I can say is that Rendezvous has showed up in every single episode this season. Okay.
Oh,
Rendezvous has definitely showed up in every single episode, whether it was on Donna's calendar, on her bedroom wall, or whether they focused in on the trailer next to the post office. Boyd's
mm,
trailer is next to the post office, and it has the Rendezvous logo on it as well. Um, Now the thing about you saying Eloise running the Rendezvous poster, the Rendezvous calendar on Donna's walls is from 1971, which would predate Eloise probably,
I I
most likely.
thought about that. I thought about that, but we've already seen the writers be real creative with time, space, and space time. So I did think of that, but I don't know that it inhibits it from being at least some kind of someone who's been there or knows about it, who's outside of it trying to get in on purpose.
Now there's been several hints about, I would hate for them to have put Eloise on that in code Eloise on that license plate and for her
Mm,
to be dead. But I kind of feel like last episode they hinted that Eloise might be dead. You know what I'm saying? I feel like they kind of hinted at that. They showed Victor drawing a picture of the man in yellow, and the man in yellow was holding a child. And I hope that's not. I hope that doesn't mean that that is. But as far as us getting any rendezvous info, I hope that we do get some, at least a droplet this season of the rendezvous situation. The
right,
rendezvous,
just like a little peekaboo, like a little sneak, like, hey, next season, guess what? There's
right,
outsiders trying to get into cahoots in some way.
right. I agree. Just give us a little sneak peek or something. Show us little something. Give us some kind of rendezvous movement. Because
I,
a movement don't stand still. You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah, right.
I really, but this picture right here is what really makes me worry if Eloise is still with us. You know what I'm saying? He's carrying a child. I hope we don't get a scene or a flashback of the man in yellow eating Eloise. Victor said he found pieces of her. I will be disappointed if they do that because what was even the point of introducing the thought of her if they were just going to do it like that? My man Demo has a theory that Eloise may be the author of the Chromonacle book series or the Gulagog or something.
Hmm.
I really
Mm,
like that theory. I think that me personally, I think Rendezvous is remnants of an ancient order, an ancient monk monastery order.
Fucking Freemasons.
Yes, you know what I'm
They're the
saying?
center of the letter.
Okay. Yeah, okay.
Of an ancient order,
All right.
and
Keep
there are
going.
several umbrella companies like the Maboose Company, that we
Yeah.
saw, like what is it, the Creelers Cola, the Peach Company, you know, also the company that was on the logo of those moving boxes when they had the food shortage. I think that all of these companies may be under the umbrella with or under Rendezvous, and
Mm-hmm.
they have been monitoring what's going on. You know what I'm saying? And I think that that's where our technology and sci-fi aspect come into play. I think the supernatural aspect is with the place itself, and
Mm-hmm.
I think that people being sent there, like you have the Corporal Brian Kelly situation happening with Boyd being the first person he ever saw die in his arms, and then a couple coming into that town named Brian and Kelly, kind of suggests that the entity or this places has reach out into the real world. You know, we've Father Kotri heard voices, Kenny's father heard voices. You had the boy in white showing up to Tabitha on the outside. You know, that could have been just a figment of her imagination. But I think there are some yeah, Demo. I think there's some outside organizations and umbrella companies that know about this place, that have been studying this place. And I thought that season 3 was going to show us that because Tabitha was outside. I think they
Yeah,
did
but
give us
was
some
she?
clues
I
to it.
still don't know that she really was outside.
Well, I think that she was because that would explain Acosta and the
Yeah,
paramedic.
but we don't see that ambulance pick her up in Camden.
Yeah, we didn't see that happen, but we did
So
see
we
her
don't
walk past that ambulance.
like
We
that
did.
ambulance could have been on its way anywhere and gotten a call and been like, "Oh,
I
we're
think
right
that
there." And then they
I
got caught up.
I think that I think that maybe the place has influence on the outside as well.
Well,
Obviously,
certainly.
it would have to do that in order to pull these people from out there. Like it would have to have some sort of power on the outside, and I think that because we saw Tabitha when she exits the hospital, she walks right past that same ambulance. So you know, I think that this place just has some tentacles on the outside and can control certain things. I also think that Henry knows more than what he's saying as well. Um, you know, it's either that or he has grief because he didn't believe what his wife was saying. You know what
I
I mean?
mean,
I hope it's not the
he's
latter.
not sinister. He's not sinister. He's just losing it.
Well, I well, I don't know. There were a couple of things, eh, you know, when we first met Henry inside of the house that just didn't make sense. You know what
Well,
I'm saying?
yeah, and that's probably all those things, all those red flags that we saw are probably why his wife was probably leaving him and why he
Exactly.
wasn't
We don't
with
know what the dynamic
mama
was
and
between those
kids
two.
when they went to
Right.
Fromville and he wasn't with them is probably because the same red flags. It's like this dude is kind of
Well, like,
not
well,
stable.
like Yaya said. I mean, we don't know the dynamic. If she was actually leaving him or not. Like,
It's
it,
suggestible though.
it could be.
It's a maybe.
It could be. You know what I'm saying? Um, we don't know what the dynamic was between Christopher and Miranda either. You know, and then we see her driving the Hornet car. So what was that about? Like how they, you know, that's another thing. If they don't explain that in the next episode, yeah, this show is pretty much just stringing us along.
Well, and
And
the
it,
difference with Christopher is the only thing we know about Christopher has been given to us by fucking weird ass visions we don't know if we can trust. But whereas the other narratives were experienced by actual still living characters.
we have a a question about the convention. Okay, so yes, we will have streaming. The event will be streamed on all of our channels. All of the YouTubers that are going to be there. We're gonna have a bunch of YouTubers there. You know what I'm saying? All of the YouTubers, I'm sure, will have this streaming from their platform. You know, everybody will get the key to this stream, and the stream will be on everybody's platform. And you know, it'll be pretty dope. People will have panels as well. You know, I don't know if people are going to come with their own streaming setups, but that could be a possibility. But Tony and I are going to provide a live stream of the event with multiple cameras. There are going to be multiple angles, all of that. So we're going to have the streaming down pat with that, and it will be on our channel. We're going to get a ticket spot up real soon. We're trying to get it up by this week, next week, sometime around then, where you'll be able to go purchase the tickets. We're gonna start the tickets off at like $100. You know what I'm saying? And that'll be for all inclusive. Like if you get that, I can definitely say that when it gets close to the event, the price will increase. And we will have lodging packages as well. Like if you need a room or whatever. We have not totally settled on an actual venue, but we are talking 2027 in Nashville. That's definite. That's definite. So it's definite. We're definitely gonna, it's called Tube Bash Demo. You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna do a Tube Bash where we have YouTubers that talk about TV shows and other stuff. And it'll be an opportunity for us all to meet. We're gonna have some music entertainment, live performances, and DJ stuff going on. Um, we'll have certain nights, and we'll have different panels. You know what I'm saying? About various subjects, about various television shows, and some of the actors from the TV shows will be there. Like we'll have some of the people from try to see if we can get some Widows Bay people to swing through. And so it's going to be a dope event. We're putting it together. This is Tony and I, and we're going to add on more contributors, but it pretty much starts with us. Pretty much the ideal of having a get together and creating something was Tony's idea, and it morphed into something different because it just wasn't possible to do a FromCon. Amazon pushed back on it, and so we decided to make it about us and our fans instead of just making it about the TV show. So that way we can still get some of the people from the show to come and participate, whether or not that the show, like the event doesn't have to be named after one television show. We can open it up to more TV shows and have more people, live performances, music, and it's going to be in Nashville. So you already know it's going to be lit. So yeah.
That's awesome. And you guys shouldn't even tie it to one show because really, I think I'm going to tie into my first comment that I want to make to you. I think you are a dark horse in the creator community. They were not expecting somebody to come out and make all these connections. And I say that because recently Emmanuel Noisette said in one of his interviews that when he spoke to the producers, he was like, hey, why didn't you guys create like a Walking Dead sort of post show? And he's like, you go ahead and do it. So I read into that as they didn't want to divulge anything. They didn't want to have any sort of official thing. And when you tell me that Amazon is pushing back on that, it just adds to this whole idea. Maybe I'm being too dubious, but I mean, I've been listening to you for a while and I'd cheer it on every time you point out things like the Thomas Matthews connection and things like that, and the real world actual power moves and the white magic, whoever's familiar with that term, of putting it in front of our face and getting the permission
yes.
to do the things they're doing.
Yes, getting the energy from the people beforehand
Right.
is that's what the rehearsal means.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Real
quick.
I thank
sorry,
you and appreciate you for noticing that. And I thank you for your appreciation of noticing it yourself. You know what I mean? Us bringing together the community, not just with one show, but with other shows, I think is the best move. And to also just make it about the YouTube creators and them inviting their fan bases to come meet them in person.
Absolutely, absolutely. You guys are the new media, so I mean, it's spoken of openly now, right? Legacy media is dying, right? You guys are the new media. Real quick, I wanted to touch on a couple of things you mentioned tonight that caused me to actually call in. Usually, I just sit back and listen. I was a avid gamer as a child. I don't have lots of memories because it's been so many years since I played that game. But there's a couple of things I do want to bring up that I think are very interesting. Yes, you play as Chrono. He does die. When you think you're beating the game, he actually dies. And then the second half of the game is you trying to resurrect him. You do travel through time. But here's the point I want to touch on that I think you might be able to build on. There's a person who's an antagonist to him named Magus. Doesn't matter what his name is. He's a vampire or whatever. It doesn't matter. Um, he ends up becoming a playable character for you. So essentially, he, after witnessing this death of this main character, switches sides. Now, of course, the details are foggy in my mind, so I'm not going to go into them. People can research it themselves. But I think that's very interesting. It has me thinking, who could possibly be? I mean, I don't think the man in yellow is going to turn and become a good guy. It's just not going to happen. But maybe there's somebody among them who's like has been mentioned as a bad guy working with the entity or the bad guys, and is going to turn. And you've really got me thinking now about Donna. Maybe Donna is on the bad guy side, and maybe this whole thing of her dying is just a ruse.
I Now here's the thing. I don't think that Donna is necessarily evil. I think that she was keeping things away from the people in order to protect them because she knows that when something they learn something, that some bullshit happens. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And I definitely look at Donna as somebody who, if it does turn out that she knew something and was hiding something, it would have more of an impact than what we just learned about Clara.
yep,
You know,
definitely.
it would definitely have more of an impact than what we just learned about Clara, just making some just strange deal with an entity, and then she totally forgot about it and didn't even think it was real. So everything that we saw Clara doing was not even suspect because she wasn't doing anything at that point. Now she is. Now she's, you know, looking over her shoulder as she puts blood in her. you know, I think that was just like, for instance, I think that was corny. Why didn't she just give her something? Why didn't she just put her blood in something and just give it to her and say, "Here"? That just shows you right there that that was a vessel for the blood brother symbolism. Blood brother oath
Right,
that you would see the natives do with settlers, and camaraderie. You know what I'm saying? And
yeah,
so,
yeah,
I think that was just a vessel to symbolize that. We saw that symbolized already when he said, "My blood is your blood." Then you see Boyd pretty much cut his hand the same way Sophia did. You know what I
right.
mean? Yeah, totally, totally locked in on that. Yes, yeah, yeah. Thank you for your encouraging words and
Thank you.
your thoughts on the show as well. I'm gonna end this stream. We've been rocking out for two
Thank you so
hours.
much.
Yes, yes, we've been rocking out for 2 hours. I've seen a couple people asking me to stay on a little bit longer. I don't know. I may jump on later. I may jump on later. You know what I'm saying? Uh, let's see. Who else is it? Did I see my man come up in the chat? Nah, he didn't. He's not here. Ray. I don't know. He might be working or something like that, and he might not be able to hop on the live stream. If I go live tonight, hopefully he'll be able to join us. You know what I'm saying? But I want to thank all of you for joining me this afternoon. This has been a dope stream. I love doing the midday streams because we get people that are in different time zones. Some people work at night and they're not able to jump on. I appreciate all of it. Luna Cascade said, "Blood in the chalice makes magic user powerful." Indeed. Indeed. Can't spell spiritual without ritual. Indeed. Yes, indeed. Oh yeah. I talk about a lot of that is in my video, in my notes here. I actually talk about spiritual and ritual, you know, also writ. is the phonetic brethren of rite, rite of passage, ritual, written, right? Right as in correct, or right as in 90 degrees, which also is prevalent in Freemasonry. You have the square tool, but you also have right and written, you know what I mean? That is writing, and writing is spelling, right? So it also stands for ritual, right? It stands for rites, RITE, like rite of passage, okay? Then it's writing, which writing is spelling, right? Okay. Then you have spelling, you have the spelling of your name in cursive, you know what I'm saying, as a cursive writing um is a binding spell, which actually has magic in our real world. Your driver's license has your signature or your sign of nature. Back of your credit card, your social security, you know what I'm saying? Mostly any document that you agree into, and any document that has that signature on it has your name in all capital letters, which is the capitis de minimis maxima. Pardon me. This tea is hot, y'all. Hold on. Woo. Woo. Yeah. Yo, you guys have heard me burn my mouth on this tea at least 3 times. And every time it's funny as hell. That was a funny one right there. Cause I got locks, yo. And I moved so quick that one lock came from the back and it just landed on my chest real quick. Like, I moved quick as hell with that one. Another tea moment. Elizabeth knows what time it is. This is like the 3rd time I burnt my mouth. Because I don't be looking. I'm just talking and I'm kind of looking at the screen. And I don't be looking at the cup. I don't know when it's getting right there, But anyway, capitis de minimis maxima. And I was cooking right there too. It kind of, you know what I'm saying? Even the tea didn't want me to spill the tea. You dig? But but yes. So, when you put your cursive signature on something, it definitely binds you to it. It actually connects you to it. It could just be a piece of paper with some shit on it, just random agreement. And once you put the signature on there, you can be fined, you can be jailed, you can be, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's almost like it's magic and it makes this thing alive now. And so I say all of this just to let you know, and I say this, and it's dope how I'm ending the stream, right? I say all of that to say that whether you believe in the symbolism meaning something or actually having control in real life, you participate in this magic every single day, whether you believe in it or not. This is why when you deal with you write some stuff on a piece of paper, the moment you put your signature on it, you ignite it, you initiate it, and you're initiated within it. You're bound to whatever it says. And the dispute about that agreement that you sign your signature on. This is why signature is made up of 2 words, sign and nature, because it's the sign of the natural person, right? If that dispute is settled with the judge, who is also known as the magistrate, and the magistrate has the word magic right in front of it, just like the word majesty, right? And when you look at the majesty, the king, and the priest, the pastor, and the judge or the magistrate, they all sit higher above everyone. They have the gavel, they have the Bible, they have these different tools, they have the scepter, they have these different things. And so People have always participated in this magic, whether they believed in it or not. The funny thing is, people from way back in the day believed in it more. So why don't we? We see the signs of it happening all the time. We see the magic that they place. This is why they call, when they select the characters and the actors to play these characters, they call that casting, as if it was spell casting, because this person has to literally pull in a different person into themselves, and almost as a possession. And then they act. Not only that, it's broadcast. So it's broadcast to you. So as like a spell is cast, this thing is broadcast. So a lot of people believe in these things. Some people don't believe in these things, right? But you're participating in it whether you believe it or not every single day. And so that's what this channel pretty much does. And I want to thank Yaya again for coming up. I want to thank Taryn for coming up, Elizabeth for coming up, and everybody for joining us and rocking with us. You know what I'm saying? The powers that be definitely practice magic. Yes, indeed, Golden Child Productions. If you don't think they're practicing magic and you just think this is a form of entertainment, okay. Okay. That's fine with me. I'm not mad at that. I have a lot of friends that believe that way. The difference is, right? Some people separate themselves from those who think like me. But a lot of times, people who think like me don't separate themselves from anyone based on what they think or believe. Because most of the time, people that think in that way are knowledge seekers. So they're just not going to cash anybody out because they don't believe it. I don't feel sorry for nobody because they don't believe it. I don't feel sorry. I feel sorry for those who call me names like, oh, this is a schizo channel, yada, yada, yada. I feel sorry for those people. You know what I mean? Because your day has got to be fucked up and your life has got to be fucked up to take time out of your day to come and call someone names for what they believe. And you never challenge any of the beliefs. You never sit and have a dialogue or give any coherent statements about the beliefs. You just spout ad hominem attacks and call people names. I feel sorry for those people because they must be going through something. I've never felt compelled to go at somebody in that way. You know what I mean? I don't care what they believe in. Whatever your political shit is, whatever your spiritual shit is, you know, even your dietary stuff. You know what I mean? I don't shit on nobody for whatever they do. That's them. You know what I mean? What you eat don't make me shit. You know what I'm saying? I want to shout Dana out, the wonderful, beautiful Dana Marie coming through with 5 Real Enigmas and Theories gifts to the Magnified. Thank you so much for your generosity, sis. And you know, I don't know why, but when I went on Scarlett's stream the last time, I don't know why. I must have missed the story, but okay, sorry I missed it. You were on vacation. There's the answer right there. That's dope. That's real dope. You know what I mean? Okay, Demo said if I hop on later, he'll hop on. That'll be dope. I'm glad you had a good time. Did you have a good time? Hope you had a good time on vacation. It's about that time for my family, to be honest with you. We're getting close to that vacation time. We're going to do something. You know what I mean? Ritual, intention, change of reality. Yes. At Real, the show is fire. Thank you. You know what I'm saying? The tea is hot because the show is fire. At a bare minimum, a network of elite cults that serve each other deities. At most, it's true reality warping. I know enough to not doubt the power of esoteric magic, which is what the elites believe in. Of course, this is where you had things like Operation Paperclip, where they were bringing in Nazis to start things like MK Ultra and do shit, all that type of shit. MK Ultra, they were literally trying to make psychic super soldiers. So they spent millions of dollars of your tax money to do so. So obviously they fucking believe in it. You know what I mean? They spent lots of money researching these things. They have sent armies to confiscate artifacts from the Ziggurat of Ur in many different places. Look up the Ziggurat of Ur and look at the occupation and all the shit that they took up out of there. You understand? All over the world they have found artifacts. Follow the money. Follow the money. The money tells you everything you need to know. You missed all the Clara fun. Yeah, shout out to Dana and her Clara video for sure. You know what I'm saying? Clara ending up being a person who had made a deal with Sophia is bananas. I love it. Yes, indeed. So you know, they definitely and not only that, I'll say this real quick before we go. But the CIA has their hand in the creation of your favorite movies and TV shows. Okay? Who do you think these rich dudes that live in their neighborhoods live next to? They live to top Pentagon brass and all kind of people like that. That's who them is their neighbors. And they're sitting at the barbecues together and meetings and hanging out saying, hey, why don't you write a movie about this? I'll give you all the details about this, that, and the third. And then you got a movie, The Men That Stare at Goats and shit like that. You dig what I'm saying? So this is real deal shit. Like, you could believe it if you want to. You don't have to. That's fine with me. I hope that you enjoy your visits to the channel nonetheless. But as I stated, we're going to get up out of here. I appreciate everybody that came through. I hope that this picture that we see on the screen does not mean that that's Eloise. I hope not. You know what I mean? I thank you all for coming through. I love y'all. And we might go live tonight. We'll see. Much love to y'all. Thank y'all for joining. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.